Good day, ma'am. I'm CTV Saji Haliluddin from BSN English 1A, and for today I'm going to discuss the Week 7 module in Linguistic 2. First, discuss the outstanding contribution of the following in linguistic. First is Aristotle. Aristotle is a great philosopher initiative, the earlier called Aristotle model communication. He defined speech as a kind of articulated voice, and the basic difference between voice and speech it is the process of articulation which is performed by the tongue. He draws such as different from the aspect of vocalization's organs. Judged from this biological base, speech does not belong to human beings uniquely. Some other animal species also have the ability of speech, and the difference is just the degree of the ability to use speech in Aristotle's view, the distinguishing features of human language is its semantic scope. Aristotle thinks that only human being has the ability to use language to indicate the advantages and the harmful, the right and wrong, while other animals can only emit voice to indicate painful and pleasant things. And also Aristotle thinks that human language is social and diverse. He regards human language as a kind of man-made arbitrary symbol. The meaning of this symbol is not from the voice itself but established by convention among human beings. The second one is Robert Lowth. He is an English clergyman and grammarian born in Winchester's School and New College, Oxford, appointed Bishop of London in 1777. Lowth was a physiologist more inclined to melancholy than to mirth, who believes that Hebrew was spoken in paradise. His short introduction to English grammar in 1762 became a standard textbook, and his name has become synonymous with prescriptive grammar. Lowth's reputation as a prescriptivist is not entirely deserved. Through liberally state his grammar rules with errors to be found in the English Bible and in his standard authors, his approach to correctness was not invariable, rigid, and like most grammarians. He described English as well as prescribing its rules, while Lowth advised against ending sentences with prepositions. He acknowledged the construction as an idiom which our language is strongly inclined to, and also he distinguished between shall and will, as well as the future's auxiliary. Yet we noted that the pattern is a new one that took hold in the language. After the vulgar translations of the Bible, Lowth was convinced is that English is a rule governed, and he defended the regularity and simplicity of the language against a tradition which viewed it as too primitive to possess and grammar at all. Next is Ferdinand de Saussure. Saussure created structural linguistics and laid the foundations for the study of science, which known as a semiotic or semiology, and his theories have remained central to fields like philosophy, anthropology, media studies, literary studies, cultural studies. According to Ferdinand, language is a sign, and signs are basically things that stand in for something else. And signs are literally everywhere. For example, the pictogram on restroom showing you who this particular restroom is intended for. And sign can be found also in literary and media text as well, where should be playing with forms and codes in all sort of interesting way. So let's proceed to the number 2. Explain the historical development of the language, evolutionary or Darwinian. So Darwin started thinking about the origin of language in the late 1830s. He described how language might have evolved through natural and sexual selection. He compared birds learning to sing to infant babbling, and he reflected on the communicative powers of animals, their ability to learn new sounds and even to associate them with words. He also observed the similarities between animal sounds and various natural cries and gestures that humans make when expressing strong emotions such as fear, surprise, or joy. Let's proceed to number 3. Define, describe, or explain the following. First is Roman language. Roman language is evolved from Latin, the language used in ancient Rome. The Latin word Romanicus, meaning Roman, was later shortened to Romance, which is where the language family name came from. Latin itself however, evolved from the what we call Indo-European language. Is an ancient proto-language, which is the origins of the language spoken in the modern Europe and parts of the Asia. Next is the Proto-Germanic or Germanic. So linguists generally describe Germanic language in three groups, which include the West Germanic, North Germanic, and East Germanic. The West Germanic groups include German, English, and Dutch, while the North Germanic include Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, Icelandic, and Farsi. And lastly, East Germanic include Gothic and the language once spoken by members of peoples like Vandals and the Burgundians. Another important language family is the Sino-Tibetan language. It is the world's second largest language family, with more than 1 billion speakers of its hundreds of different languages. It includes both Sinitic language, known as the Chinese dialect, and the Tibeto-Burdan language, such as Tibetan and Burmese. In addition, the Indo-European and Sino-Tibetan language families, two of the largest in the world. Linguists have categorized more than 100 language families around the globe. Linguists continue to study language and its origins. Our understanding of language families will continue to evolve. So, in certain language are related to each other. This is what we call a family language. So, what I have mentioned three, that is the part of the family language, is a group of different language at all descends from a particular language. So let's proceed to number 4. Explain the following. First is Grimm's law. So Grimm described is a set of sounds change occurred between its status, the dialect of Proto-Indo-European, and its gradual divergence into a separate language, as it is probable that the development of listen shifts spanned a considerable time. Next is the Great Vowel Shift, was a series of changes in the pronunciation of English language that took place primarily between 1400 and 1700, beginning in southern England, and today having influenced effectively all dialect of English. Through these vowel shifts, the pronunciations of the Middle English long vowels was changed. Some consonant sounds change as well, particularly those that become silent. The term great vowel shift is something used to include these consonantal changes. So last is the discuss the history of English language. So let's start in the Old English. Old English is a West Germanic language is the earliest from a form of English language spoken from about year 500 to the year 1100 of the Common Era. Old English is fully understood. Second is the Middle English. Middle English is an old version of English that can be parsed out when reading it. Although understanding it spoken is a lot harder, it is more analytic language like modern English. It tends to require particular word order to indicate what subject, object, or lastly is the modern English. So in the modern English, there are two types, which is early and late. So early modern English, by the early modern English era, many people were literate than had previously been before, this creating more opportunity for linguistic evolution. People began to borrow more words from Latin, Greek, Italian, German, and Yiddish words borrowed from other languages, and sometimes there were the problems with mispronunciation. Second, late modern English accumulated many more words as a result of two main isolated factors: the Industrial Revolution, which necessarily new words for things and ideas that had not previously existed. So that's all for today, Mom. Thank you.